the situation is now being raised a level, if you will, and this conflict is being highlighted in Turkey's aspiration to become part of the European Union. That is to say, the Turkish internal conflict is also mirrored in the relationship between Turkey, which is trying to meet the conditions for admission to the European Union, and the European Union itself, which is, to say the very least, extremely ambivalent about whether or not Turkey can or should meet those conditions. So the tension between a non-religious, let's call it, democratic space and the rise of self-avowed religious movements in Turkey is also now becoming the issue between Turkey as a Muslim-majority country and Europe itself.
Yes, that's the irony of history, because European countries have the same problem that Turkish secularists have with Islam, right? Irony. Why? Because at the same time, European countries cannot back up authoritarian secularism in Turkey.
Why can't they?
Because they would say we need a democratic country. But when it is democratic, it is Muslim, and then they don't want Muslims. So there is a total blocked situation. So question of Islam becomes really a kind of litmus test, both for European Democrats, but also for Turkish Democrats or Turkish democracy and European future. Because a kind of tacit assumption in European Union, the tacit assumption was Europe is with the Christian heritage. It was never overtly suggested and expressed until Turkish membership triggered a very important societal debate on European identity. So Turkey, of course, the Turkish membership matters. It will make a difference in European Union. It's not easy. But what is interesting is it's not only a question of Turkish file, that is, problems that Turkey has to resolve. The question is more and more about where are the frontiers of European Union, how we define European identity, what is the religious heritage with this? Is it a Christian heritage and European identity kind of thing, or a new project that goes beyond nation states and even beyond the Christian heritage and opens it to different religions? Because there is not only one religion, and now it's kind of hyphenation between Judeo-Christian heritage is made, but not Islam, because in the past Islam also made part of, in a way, conflictual maybe Europe. But there is a kind of distancing Islam as the other of Europe, and Turkey is perceived as the other of Europe in this process for the moment.
Well, the added factor, of course, is the presence of significant Muslim populations in many of the European countries, which have had a difficult time, these countries did, in integrating properly many of the Muslim communities. And so it's mirrored in the relationship not just between Turkey and Europe, but within many of the European countries, between the long-standing inhabitants and the immigrant communities. So all of this seems to stir up, the same kind of problem at all of these different levels.
That's right. And again, if we go back and forth between Turkey and Europe, and in relation to headscarf issue, we can say that in a way, these populations are more integrated than the previous generations. Because, look, I mean, if we make a kind of classification, historical classification, in the 70s people were speaking about workers, guest workers, in Germany, Turks, in France, basically from Algeria. They were single men coming to factory working, and then afterwards we speak about the families of these people who came, and then we understood that they're not going to go back to their countries, but they are migrants with their families, and the second generation boys, especially related with unemployment issues, like Beur, Arab. So we were designating them, it was designated in the public sphere as unemployed, issues of security, and the young generation with their nationality, basically, or Algerian or Arab, for instance. And now comes a third wave. We speak about these girls with the headscarves, but they're already in the high schools, in the public schools. That means they know how to speak German, French, Dutch. They are much more integrated than their mothers and their fathers, even most often from their brothers as well, because they are doing quite well in the high schools. The question is not therefore only integration, but the ways they come into these spaces of European modernity, public schools and other experiences of life, they also transform their own, they transform their own traditional background into something new with the help of religious identity or something. So they are becoming more European, but they are also keeping to their Islamic identity. And Islamic identity is something which helps them to distance themselves from their parents' national identities. That is, they consider themselves less Algerian in a way when they become Islamic. Do you see what I mean? So that means the religious identity very often provides them with a way of distancing themselves from their parents'
from their immigrant origins.
Exactly. So that means also we can read also Islam in a way of getting much more distance from their immigrant origins.